and welcome to Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge Season 37, Spies, Lies, and Allies, Episode 7. I got a good video planned out for you, but before we can get into any of that, let's jump into today's sponsor. Do you have muscles? If you do, you probably had a muscle or two sore. I know I have. I normally get it from working out. Or sitting at my computer for far too long. That's when I like to reach to the Charles Warren All-Natural Sweet Ginger Vapor Rub. It is made with 6 all-natural oils and butters. And did I mention that the packaging is biodegradable? Another product I love to use is the Coconut Milk and Oats Body and Foot Powder. It's talc-free, baking soda-free, and cornstarch-free, all while keeping my feet sweat-free, and it smells like fresh coconut cake. And right now, if you go to charleswarrenpresents.com and use my promo code at checkout, you can get a discount. All the information and a link is down in the description below. Thank you so much to Charles Warren Presents for sponsoring this video, and now on to Tiny Table Talk. Oh, how quickly the tides turn in the challenge, especially when you push somebody's face and get physical with them. It's actually quite shocking to see how quickly the game has turned on Fessy and Esther, as they were 2 strong competitors, strong contenders in the game, winning 2 daily challenges out of the 6 we've seen so far in the season, yet in a blink of an eye, in a quick instant, the game is done for both of them. Once Fessy put his hands on Josh, he was going to get a disqualification. I mean, it's only fair if we saw it happen to Nelson in Dirty 30 and then it happens here. Call it weak, call it soft, call it a dumb rule on the challenge's part. There wasn't really any damage really done, but they can't have this precedence of somebody putting their hands on somebody and in somebody's face and then just let it slip by. I mean, once you let one thing slip by, people are going to argue it every single time. So I think they had to do it. They had to send Fessy out. And I will say, once finally watching the aftermath for this past week's episode, it was actually quite refreshing to hear Fessy take responsibility for his actions and for his part of the fight. He makes it known that it was stupid for him to get all riled up in that fight with Josh, to even have that fight with Josh, and to put his hands on somebody is unacceptable. So I have to give my props and respect to Fessy for taking ownership within that fight. Now, the situation felt very heavy, with everybody crying, everybody upset that Fessy was leaving, and I'm happy at least that we got a confessional on the opposite end from Kyle saying that, hey, boo-hoo, Fessy's gone. I think he is saying what everybody else is saying, but not really being put out there in this edit, is that Yahoo! Fessy is gone. This is a massive upside for the men in the house, because Fessy has made it to the past 2 finals, and sending him into an elimination that was hopefully not physical could be tough, because the challenge has been leaning into physical eliminations more so than not. So I think all the men are wiping their brows thinking, Fessy is gone. There's no way he can repeat going to a 3rd final in a row. But I also think that this could be a huge benefit for Kaycee's game and Josh's game. First of all, Kaycee, I think, has been caught in the middle of this Josh and Fessy fight, and she was getting frustrated. She even says in the edit, like, I did not want to have to babysit 2 grown men. Now she doesn't. She can just focus clearly on her game, and we get to see what she can do with Fessy not in the game. This is the first time ever in their challenge career that she will be playing this game without Fessy around. I think that this takes a huge target off of Kaycee's back, because Fessy is known to get messy during the season, and she has a ton of friends. So now she can start implementing herself, her strategy, her social game into other points in the house and stop fully falling backwards into this Big Brother alliance. Now we can see Kaycee starting to play the game of the challenge, and I know she's going to be a strong competitor. A lot of the guys are looking to her to be a strong competitor. Not a lot of the women want to go up against her, so I don't think she's going to be in any trouble. Fessy being disqualified in this season is beneficial for not only the rest of the men in the house, but for Kaycee's game, Josh's game, and I also think that it could help Fessy's game long term in the future, because hearing him on the aftermath, I think he is very remorseful. I also think he has been humbled through this whole situation, and maybe we could see a different side of Fessy. I think he wanted to come in trying to be like, hey, I've changed my ways, I'm a different person, trying to build up his PR in the challenge fandom, but I think it came off a little bit disingenuous, especially for how he played and everything that he said the last few seasons. But coming back after this incident, I think maybe we could see a different side of him. But what do you think about Fessy's disqualification after pushing Josh's face away? Do you think it's a good rule, or do you think that the challenge has gotten a little soft? And do you think that this could be a positive thing for Kaycee and Josh's game? Let me know that in the comments section below. Stirring the pot in the game and causing chaos in the house has been happening on the challenge since the beginning of time, and I wanted to highlight a handful of pot stirring moments from 3 competitors who I would consider gold medalists in pot stirring, and the first person I want to highlight is Devin. Let's go back all the way to last season, season 36, Double Agents, where, I mean, Big Brother Sucks is now just a modern classic.
Big Brother sucks! Who said that?
This was just Devin trying to get underneath the Big Brother Alliance skin, and it was rather entertaining. I don't think we're ever going to hear the answer of what 8 times 9 is.
What's 8 times 9?
Alright, what's the
Now let's go to a Devin moment that was huge, that sent ripples throughout the house, and that was in season 31, Vendettas, where Devin outed Kaylee and Bananas sharing a kiss in the bathroom, which left Nelson and Natalie feeling betrayed. The whole house was backing up Nelson and Natalie, where it led to the bullying of Kaylee, but that wasn't Devin's intention. What Devin was trying to do was put a lot of heat on Bananas to get him sent into the elimination via the Troika.
I don't want to give myself too much credit here, but we've got a massive fire, and I caused the spark.
And honestly, it worked. It worked to a T. Bananas was sent in and was eliminated by Devin in a light bright challenge.
You know what's real close to a layup? A slam dunk, baby! Let's go!
Speaking of Bananas, let's stay in season 31. Prior to coming onto the season, Bananas had the idea of having his sister write some notes, and then throughout the season was going to leave them on women's beds to try to stir up some drama between 2 rooms.
I'm Johnny Bananas, and I stir pots.
This was one of the best kept challenge secrets, as nobody knew who was writing these notes. Everyone was skeptical on everyone, and one that I think was even more infamous happens in Battle of the Bloodlines, where Bananas was feeling the heat. There was an alliance in the house that was targeting him, and they were putting a lot of heat on him. But then comes in Abram, and that's when him and his cousin Vince decide to tell Abram about Cara Maria and Thomas canoodling in the back of the bus and having hooked up. This led to a big fight between Abram and Cara.
Question though, where did all this stirring stem from?
This has screwed up the entire game because now Abram is gunning for Tom, and it puts Bananas back in the game. I hope you're happy.
And it gave Bananas a little bit more wiggle room in the game, but ultimately him and Cara went head to head in an elimination where Cara beat him. And the final pot stirring moment I want to highlight in this video comes from season 34, War of the Worlds 2, where Ashley decides to tell Turbo that Jordan is talking mad smack about him. And there was already some contention between Jordan and Turbo from earlier on in the season. Then Jordan is talking about how he doesn't feel like Turbo is a strong competitor. He was gassing out in one daily challenge. Ashley goes and gets him.
I tell Turbo what Jordan is saying for a few different reasons. One, I'm really bored and I want to see some drama.
And this leads to a huge blow up. Now I know there's been a ton of pot stirring moments that have happened on the challenge. I only want to mention a handful in this video, and I know I went with some recent ones, but what are some of your favorite pot stirring moments in challenge history? Is it one that I mentioned in this video, or is it one that I didn't mention? Let me know that in the comments section below. Now let's read some comments from my Thursday's review and recap, and the first comment comes from Asha or Aisha, who says, seeing Fessy in the confessional regretting some of his actions / getting a little emotional was nice. He was saying he doesn't like showing his emotions, but all that does is make him seem like a sociopath. And also CT trying to play it cool was hilarious. LOL, no surprise Berna was seeing through it a bit. I agree, seeing Fessy get emotional and also take ownership of his actions was really refreshing, and I think Berna could feel like something was happening. I don't know if CT and Berna were actually clicking or feeling like they were on the same page. Maybe they weren't talking as much. And with Berna and Nelson in sort of like a challenge relationship, and then CT hanging out with his group of friends like Devin and Kyle and now Emmy, it feels as though that there could have been this like feeling that they were splitting apart gradually. Legit Boss Don says, I'm glad Josh didn't get sent home too, even though he was extra AF, and I really hope Fessy has truly learned something from this. He probably won't, but I can hope for the best. I agree, even though I've heard rumors that Josh threw a glass at Fessy. Also, he throws a glass when yelling at Amanda, and I feel like Josh gets a pass for the drama that he stirs here and there because I think the challenge producers see him as like a rated PG sort of like drama starter instead of like a full-blown rated R, the dual 2 CT kind of drama. If Josh is involved, I feel like they let him do his thing because they think it's good for the TV show. But if he's doing something that actually hurts somebody and breaking glass, you should get more than just a talking to a warning if something like that is happening. Next comment comes from Dana, who says, behind the scenes, Corey turns to Nelson and says, I told you, I got you. Corey playing the long con of what happened last season with the hall brawl with Nelson. I mean, that would have been very interesting. I just think he was bored and he wanted to gas up and have some drama within the house, but it kind of worked out in the favor of it being revenge for what happened with Nelson. Even though I would have loved to see the storyline of Nelson actually getting revenge on Fessy in some way in the game. Miosha 1903 says, LOL, I love how Nelson and Corey failed to mention their DQ from the game for fighting in their confessionals, especially Corey with Pastagate. Let's hope Byrne doesn't get upset about being blindsided considering she did not like when Amber did it. I think it was on everybody's mind when Corey said they're two grown men who are getting heated over pizza. They should be able to learn to control their emotions when everything that happened in season 32 with Pastagate. I think the great philosopher Alanis Morissette said it best, saying, isn't it ironic? Jen comes in with a comment saying, I wonder who TJ would have picked if it came to that. TJ, when saying that Fessy was going to be DQ'd, he told everybody, you got 15 minutes to get down to the chamber or I'm picking the elimination. I think he would have went with two vets. And if it's going to be two women, I think it could have been Tori and, say, Ashley or Amanda. I think he would have went with two vets to really shake up the game because we've heard him in the past episodes being like, wow, more rookies going up against each other. Good job, vets. And if he had his way, or if production had their way in and getting to pick the matchups, I think he would have went with two vets. The next comment comes from George Cruz, who says, me, the worst hall brawl variation was last season with the Ambers and the Balls. Production, giggles. This has to be one of the worst. I did not like this hall brawl variance at all. I understand that they wanted to have it different because there was probably a lot of scrutiny from how many times we saw the hall brawl last season, and then this season they were like, we gotta shake things up, we gotta make it different, maybe make it a little bit more strategical because now you have to climb the fence to ring the bell. But the rope was kind of dumb, them holding onto the fence for as long as they did, it just was not hitting it. And for it to be like 3 to 4 minutes in total time, and the way the editing was just so back and forth and so chopped up, it was not my favorite. Horror movie Scream Queen, which coming up on October, I love the name. I hope Emmy and Uncle CT will be a great team. We shall see. I'm very interested to see how Emmy and Uncle CT will work with each other. They seem to really want to work with each other, but we've seen Emmy get super emotional, but maybe because she really likes CT and likes what he has to say and he gives really good advice and he's pretty patient overall, I think maybe they could settle in with each other and actually be a very strong duo. I know they're going to be strong physically. Asahel or Asahel, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Man, the editing and all the cast getting emotional about Fessy getting DQ'd was too much. I completely agree. Like Devin said, it's not like Fessy died, he got DQ'd. Also, love Devin just in the background eating pizza. Berna had everything going for her, but I say karma. I think she got cocky and CT saw it. I hope we get some good stuff from Emmy and CT. I don't know if she got too cocky, but I think maybe CT is worried about all the extracurriculars happening within the house. She's spending most of her time over on the other side of the house with Nelson and his friends, and CT is over on his side with his friends and trying to stay out of the drama, where Berna is now talking to the agency on throwing in Amber, trying to get somebody else thrown in, trying to get a vet thrown in, and maybe that could put a target on her back, which would put a target on his back. Maybe that's just all just accumulating, and now with Emmy kind of being an outcast wandering around, and now she's hanging out a lot with CT and his friends, now he's feeling like maybe I'm connecting with Emmy a little bit more, and maybe that connection could be something stronger as we progress through the game. I mentioned that Fessy and Esther's game got gone in a blink of an eye, but Berna's also got flipped upside down with being with CT, and now she's in a rookie team and could be having a big target on her back for next episode. Cody comes in with a comment saying, speaking of Logan, where was he this episode? He didn't have any screen time. He was prominent in last week's episode. The editing was so focused on Fessy, Josh fight, and Fessy's eulogy and Emmy's game this episode that you forget about the other key players. 1000%. The one thing that I'm very happy about that Fessy is leaving the game and kind of like squashing this whole Big Brother argument and Big Brother drama is that we can get past this point. I want to see more of the people in the house. There's like, I think over 20 people left in this game or something to that effect. There's so many people left in this game that we're getting 0 screen time. That's one of the more frustrating elements about this edit thus far. We're episode 7, yet I'm getting hardly anybody besides the Big Brother trio and maybe a rookie or 2 being splotched in there here and there. And the final comment comes from Teviz, who says, wish it wasn't split up into 2 episodes. 100% agree. We get 2 hours where a fight is split up when we could just have 90 minutes and wrap it all up and it would have been fine and we could have kept the flow going. I feel like we got the flow kind of stopped with the 2 episodes. We stopped the momentum of that fight, the severity of it, to where we get to this episode and everybody's just hugging, crying, and then we just move on to the hall brawl, which was kind of lackluster. I really do think that they should have just had one 90-minute episode and just kept the season going and let's get the show on the road. But that is it for this Tiny Table Talk. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think is going to happen now that Fessy is gone? Do you think Kaycee and Josh are better off that he's gone in this game and now that they can focus on their own games and their own social standings? Let me know that in the comment section below. What's your favorite pot stirring moment? Let me know that too. And what do you think is going to happen in the next episode? I want to hear anything and everything you have to say down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge 37 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.